Yes, you have it, because it said Raymond on the thing.
Not me, because we traded.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Sorry. Are
Yes.
you prepared to go too?
Yes. Okay, good. So.
Glad we did that.
It's important.
Okay, we are live.
I'd like to call this school board meeting of the Arcadia Unified School District to order. It is 7:03 p.m. Let's see. All board members are here. We are missing one administrator, Derek Eslin. His daughter is graduating today. We wish her a happy graduation. Ms. Chavez, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please rise. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I believe you have the inspiration.
I do. Hope this all works with Mr. Bramley. Last time I tried an inspiration with extra added things, it didn't go so well, so learn from failure and try again. So the 2020-2021 year has come to a close. Woo! It has been absolutely hyperbolic in its intensity and its challenges, its insecurities, and its surprises. But it's also been absolutely momentous in its creativity, perseverance, innovation, and just plain getting the job done. I am sure that no one here is surprised to find out that unprecedented was voted People's Choice Word of 2020. And AUSD forged through this unprecedented year, working to support community and learning. And I was looking for a way to fully express the magnitude of my respect, and I'm sure all of us feel this way, our pride, our admiration, and our gratitude for everyone's efforts. I was fully looking for a way to recognize and salute those achievements and accomplishments of 2021. My words felt very inadequate. Graduation came to the rescue and it provided my inspiration. So hopefully Scott will be able to share my photo. I took this at graduation. Hopefully it will come up. And I just want to say hats off. It was coming. There it is. To our families, our students, hats off to the teachers and to our staff. Hats off to everybody that stepped out of their comfort zone this year and just made it to the finish line. We did it, and celebration and hats off. That is my inspiration.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Okay, the motion was made by Mr. Chung and seconded by Mr. Ang. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. There was no action taken in closed session. To the audience comments, we have two audience comments tonight. The first is from Andrew Poon.
Thank you for having me here tonight. So good evening, everyone, to the board. To pay homage to an all Joe Sean joke, my name is Andrew Poon. I'm recovering APSA president. So this is a bittersweet moment. So this is the last time that I'll be standing here at this podium as the APSA president. So after 11 years, it's time for me to semi-retire. So not the fun kind that Captain Morrell gets, but the semi-retirement years I'm stepping out from APSA. But it's a great timing for this. So much like the seniors on my caseload this year, it's time for me to usher a new era and hand off the organization to a new generation. This is a very fitting night for me to be able to make this statement. In this room right now, I have a rare occasion of having all three principals that I worked for, but probably more likely worked with. So to David, Brent, and Angie, thank you so much. David, thank you for taking a chance on hiring me. So that's the big one, and giving me the foundation that I have to use to build my career on. To Brent, thank you for being there, for giving me the open and honest conversations that we always had and having trust in me at all times. There's never been a lack of open partnership, and we've never really disagreed other than in college football season. And the Angie and the HS admin team, thank you for treating me, our bargaining unit, and the entire department as active partners and letting us take the risk in this district. All three of you, thank you for always listening and always letting us think outside the box. All three of you have probably heard the statement from me, hey, can I have a second of your time? I have a crazy idea, but I need to run it by you. So those words are probably doing in your head. To the board, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. You took a risk at hiring me when I was 24 years old, and I don't know why you guys did it, but thank you. But it really shaped me the person I am today. The first time I stood at this podium, we were in the old admin building. I thought I was going to pass out. You know, it was a very intimidating stage, but you guys have made this place like a home to me in all steps. And President Kinsler, I don't know if you remember, the first time we actually really met each other is you invited me to your house to when we were in charge of SCAC together. So it's not every day that, you know, me and the future board president's house would be having a dinner talking about how to help our freshmen get ready for high school. So that's a very special moment and something very unique to this district. To Derek and David, thank you for making the numbers make sense. So now that I'm leaving and retiring, I'm going to be very honest and say only 60% of what's presented in those state budget meetings makes sense to me. But thank you for 40% makes sense for me. But you know, in most districts, money is what separates us. But you know, these meetings, it actually brought us together for a common goal. And then to Kevin, I just want to say thank you. I don't know where to begin on this. None of this would happen without you. I say this over and over again to people I always talk to you, that you were probably one of the most important hires that AUSD has made. And because of this, it's shaped our partnership and everything we've done. And we are where we are today because of you. So thank you for that. And to ATA and CSCA, thank you for treating us as partners and not that annoying little stepbrother. I'm going to have 40 members, but we've always worked in partnership with each other. So looking back, you know, I don't know why Kathy Rapkin asked me to become APSA president 13 years ago, but it happened, you know. I was, little did she know that her 26-year-old future president was just a step away from making ramen stew in his coffee pot. So there's been a lot of growth over this last decade. And over this last decade, we have been through a lot. We faced, in my first year as president, we faced a rift and a recession. So what a way to start my career. And you get extra motivation when your name is on that rift list. So my name was on that rift list, and here I am trying to help bargain for my own job, but others in the unit for it. And in the history of APSA, I hope I am the only president who ever has to bargain a fully funded negative COLA. You know, in these last 10 years, and then with everything that's gone on with the recessions, with COVID ending my career here, we had every opportunity to butt heads. But we did the exact opposite during this last decade plus. And then finally, to my APSA members, I just want to say thank you to everyone of my APSA staff and APSA members. Thank you for putting your trust in me for the last 10 years and representing our units. People always ask me, why did I do this? Why did I do it for 10 years? And Lisa, your photo was a perfect one. Friday is the reason why we do this. Everyone is needed for that photo to happen. No one student, and then I will say graduation is the greatest event that we offer at this district. And no student makes it without the work of everyone in this room and in the community. Every parent, child, every staff member, CSCA, leadership, APSA, and ATA needs to come together for that photo to happen. Oh, my final words, I just want to say once again, thank you for everyone in the district. I'm happy to hand over my duties now to Stephanie Perez. She has in great hands. You have a great leadership team. And thank you for giving me the future leaders. But we talked about this for years. We have a new generation because of support from the board. So thank you for that. And I'm happy to hand over my reins and say, and thank you for the last decade.
Thank you, Andrew. Next up, we have Stephen Dye, a parent.
This is my first time here, so good evening, board members and staff. My name is Stephen Dye. I'm a homeowner and also a resident in Arcadia. And I just recently moved here about 2.5 years ago because of the great school district. And because of my daughter who is attending elementary school in her 2nd grade at the Camino Grove Elementary School. And that's why I have two very, I would say it's very serious concern that I want to bring to the board member here tonight. So one of the concern I have is the safety of the Arcadia High School student, or the ACYC, the Arcadia Civic Youth Council. And they were involved with something called the Sunrise Arcadia. Okay, Sunrise Arcadia is a group of network or a group that is where they exchange ideas in that group. And these students were involved in the tiny house project protest dated back on May the 16th, which is a Saturday morning. And I think the student had a very good motive, and they are good student, a young kid, and very smart kid. However, I think the parent network, okay, you guys can put this down, Sunrise Movement, Sunrise MVMT movement, as well as Sunrise MEMT movement. Okay, this is Los Angeles. This organization is on the surface is claimed to believe in the climate change and environmental change, but in a deeper look, this is a youth training network for other agenda. You guys can look it up on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Some of the ideology that go as far as abolishing the police, defunding the police, hate capitalism, demolish local government, and also interact with racial extremist activity. So there are a lot of very disturbing screenshot that were captured from Facebook's, Twitter, and Instagram related to some of these activities. And these activities are being forwarded to the city councilman and city attorney as well. So I want to bring you guys up to the attention here today. And also I want to read out a very disturbing dialogue between the student that were involved, and it's a private network chat that involved with the councilwoman, April Lovato, who advocates and supports the tiny house project. So here's the dialogue. Yes, my son has an AP exam coming up. Maybe you can wait until you can get a bigger group or more people. It's only 30 that show for the opposition. You can get 20 students for this Tuesday. I could get more to come to support your friend. Student, I'll get 20. I'm confident. Would maybe 10 be better than nothing? Okay. Stay away from calling it the Sunrise Arcadia. The opposition is attacking it on WeChat as an extremist group. Call it a group of compassionate Acadian for a safer Acadia. Student, right. We are discussing that together. Create a flyers and post it on Facebook and we'll see what we can do. Student, sounds good. Thank you. So in this private chat, in this private dialogue, the student go as far as one of the students says, protest for a college recommendation. This is very, very disturbing. You can find that on Facebook, Twitter, and is out there. And another student said, well, generally suggests that we use bot to spam the city council email. This is from a student. And this is extremely, extremely disturbing. That's why I'm bringing up this here today. Now, how many of you are aware this is happening today? Right? So I want to bring this up to you, and I urge the city as well as the school board to seriously investigate the sunrise activity and also any association with the student that had any extreme radical activity attached to it. So that's my concern. If there's an email, if there's a contact, I would definitely like to contact you and share with some of the screenshot I have. My second concern. A book by the title, I Promise, by LeBron James, was read to my daughter at school just like 2 weeks ago. It was read to her and to the class. So LeBron James, as you know, is a famous basketball player, who is a leftist liberal who supports defund the police and also often create a false narrative about social inequality and concern about about racism in the media. So I'm afraid this book by this author will teach us the kid little to no value. Why am I saying that? Because when I go on to the Amazon review and look up this book called I Promise by LeBron James, there are 3,500 review of 5-star. And when I look through all this review, those are very, very disturbing review. They are fake review. And not only that, when I asked my daughter, what did she learn from that book? And there wasn't anything that was troubling that she learned or harmful that she learned, but there's one thing that she caught me off guard. She said in that book, why are there so many black kids in that book? It's a children's book, but what are we teaching to our children today? So that's my concern. And what I would like to do is have all the teachers and the school board members to actually thoroughly review the book before they are read to the student. So that's my concern, and I hope you guys hear my concern. And I'm very grateful. I'm very thankful I have the opportunity to be here to be heard. Thank you.
Thank you for coming and speaking to us. Because it's not an agendized topic, we won't be able to have a discussion about it at tonight's meeting.
Okay.
We appreciate you coming in.
So
and
is
voicing your
there a way I can do a follow-up, or is there any way?
There
Because
is,
this is a very serious
if you
concern.
want to forward the information, all of our emails addresses are on the webpage of the school board.
Okay.
So you can go on the AUSD and you can forward anything to Dr. Van Osdal and he'll arrange a follow-up.
Okay, I'll look it up on their webpage. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next up, we have a presentation. David.
Yes.
Dr. Van Osdal.
This is a very special evening. Not only are we talking about an undefeated season, come on in. Well, I'm introducing, in fact, I'm going to pause just for a moment and let everyone come in.
Squeeze in, guys. Come
Come
on.
on in.
Come on. Don't be shy.
Create a middle row right here.
Come on. There are lots of you.
All right.
Get some parents, can they?
If you can squeeze in there.
Parents are welcome.
Thank you all for making it.
Yeah.
So this is a very special evening for us, and I have to say that listening, to our inspiration tonight and talking about the challenges of this year, this has been such a source of excitement, joy, and energy at a time that this community just really needed it. We are celebrating here tonight not only an undefeated season, but a CIF championship. I'm going to try not to take the thunder because I'm going to turn this over to Melissa and Coach Styles, and they're going to be sharing. But in the audience tonight, I do want to acknowledge that our high school athletics takes a whole team to ensure that we are able to support and provide what it takes to have athletics in a team like this. And so I want to just say thank you to the high school team. I know Ryan Press, our past athletic director, is here. Melissa has only been here for 2 years, and I know for her this is so exciting to achieve. And for the thing that I really want to share before I turn it over is that we have so many parents and adults in this community that once their children leave, they don't just leave with them. They stay and they continue to give and to give back to this community. And Coach Styles is just an exact example of that, along with his team. And I know he'll be sharing his team of coaches as well. But thank you for having faith in our students and starting a program. Is it 6 years? Am I saying that correct? About 6
minus the one we lost.
Exactly. To start a new
A year earlier.
That's right. To start a new program to compete against programs that have been in it for many, many years, and to bring it from a starting point to winning CIF is just, I hope everyone can understand how incredible that just doesn't happen. But it doesn't happen without dedicated adults giving everything. And again, even after your own children are gone from the district. So on behalf of the school board and the administration, Coach Styles and your team, thank you for everything that you did. Please join me in a round of applause. So we have a lot of things that we want to share before recognizing with the certificates. But Melissa, if you could please just share a little bit, and I know you want to celebrate Coach Styles as well.
I do. First and foremost, I just really want to say thank you for allowing us to have a season. I mean, from getting organized to the facilities to the testing. By the way, I have extra tests if you guys want to swab some noses. I loved it. So I just really want to say, honestly, thank you. Thank you for believing in us and allowing us to do what we do best. You said it just so well. Coach Styles is actually going to go into details of his program, and I'm going to just introduce the coaches. Mike Styles, our head coach, not only, my gosh, are you a phenomenal coach, but a mentor. You really, thank you. Thank you.
No problem.
Helping me out the past 2 years through boosters and everything. And, the word historically, I love. Everything is historically, and I love it. So I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Derek, where are you? Derek thank you so much for everything. So dedicated. You guys, they're here every day. Study hall, year round, just a phenomenal human being. And you'll be applying soon at AUSD. That's what I know. once again, the dedication is, I can't even, I have no words. They're here every day. Thank you so much for everything you do. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Yo. Where are you, Leo? Thank you so much. We just met.
That's me.
Where are you, Eric? Right here. Thank you for everything you do for the program and helping them out.
Thank you
I
very
really
much.
appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you. A lot of some details of the program, from struggling getting games to the league collapsing and our victories. So,
Well,
Mike is yours.
keep it short.
We know that's not gonna happen, Ken.
Yeah, I know, like. Well, thank you for having us. I'm sure that's, they worked hard to get here. But we can talk about the coaches first, and then we'll introduce the players really quickly. The program started 6 years ago. Humble beginnings, if you will. We started at a lecture hall at a meeting that we packed the room. I sent Ryan, I think both got photos of that day, when we had 150 people standing remotely. So it became clear at that point that there was a desire for a badminton program at Arcadia High School. So from those humble beginnings, we started forming the program, and shortly after that meeting, I believe it was after, I got an email from Derek, who was a graduate class of 13 from Arcadia High School, saying, I want in. I did not know Derek. Derek obviously didn't play badminton in Arcadia High School because there was no program. But he immediately expressed a strong desire to be involved. So I said, sure, we're taking everybody at this point. Turned out to be a very great decision. He's been our JV head coach since the program began. He is a varsity assistant coach. And together, I'll talk about how we built the coaching staff in a second, but really is the reason the program is what it is today. So then there's Eric. Eric's son Dylan and Jackson played baseball together when they were 9, I believe. And that's when we met. And it became clear shortly thereafter that we both played badminton. Now, it's a little difficult to realize that I played at a fairly high level when I was much younger. Eric played it. So well. Also said my name. And so from the very beginning, we've had a team administrator. We're the only program in Southern California that has a team administrator. It's also a team photographer. Everybody knows when we go to tournaments and have matches, big matches, our team photographer is going to be there. And they're the beneficiaries of his presence because all the photos that they get to see as well. So again, without Eric, this is not possible. Then talk about the impact we've had on other communities. 3 years ago, James joined us. 4 years ago, James joined. We lost a year, so my time's off. James joined us from Marquette High School, who was one of our league rivals. He had been assistant coach there. He was a 2013 graduate, but they won a CIF title in 2011. They were incidentally the last team to beat Diamond Bar in a CIF championship match before we did a couple of weeks ago. A fact he doesn't let us forget. And then 2 years ago, we got Leo. Leo played at San Gabriel High School, played against us, was one of our players' arch nemesis. To a degree that was almost comical. Leo joined us to coach our singles players, and exclusively our singles players, and he's been doing a phenomenal job doing that for the last, well, it was 2 years, but we lost most of last year. So this is the group that makes this happen. I just get to stand up in front and talk about it, but without them, and these guys we'll talk about in a second, there's no title, there's no team. It's the coaching, the day-to-day work that they do that makes us successful. So please give them a round. Okay, so I've rattled on a little bit. I don't want to get into too much detail about the season other than to say that this was the third bite at the apple, playing the same team in the Open Division final. And just so that's clear, this is Open Division. We are the best badminton team in the Southern section, arguably in the entire state of California.
2 years ago, we traveled up to Northern California and beat the best they had to offer. We were supposed to go to San Diego the day that everything shut down last year. But we have played their players in tournaments, and we're confident that given the opportunity, which may happen next year, to play down in San Diego, we would establish that we're better than what they have to offer. So as far as I'm concerned, this is the best badminton team in the state of California. Okay, so that's enough babbling on about that. I'm going to bring up the players, and I could talk about each one of them for a long time. I'm not going to do that. You guys have business to get to, and I want them to get an opportunity to go home. They're out of school now. They don't. They want to get home and do the things they do when they don't have to study. So I'm going to ask you guys to come up. You're going to get a certificate. Then you're going to go back that way, and then.
I say, because when we're finished, we're all gonna replay and take a lot of pictures real quick.
We're going to do that in here, or we're going to do that up there?
In here.
So everybody go back that direction. So make space when people return. Alphabetically, that brings us, we begin with Andrea Lowe, one of our co-captains. Quickly. We have our sophomore, number 2 singles player, did a fantastic job, Andrew Wu. I am doing it now. I said I wasn't going to speak, but I am. So, Angelina Chai, come on up. Angelina was the freshman. She had no idea about it. We put her on JV for a day. When it became clear that that's not where she belonged, we brought her up to varsity, and she did very well playing singles and some doubles for us. Then our senior leader is Arnold. A mixed player and a doubles player. He really likes to play singles, but he's better for us in doubles, so that's where we fit him. Brianne John's been with our program for 4 years. Caleb, come on up. Caleb is a freshman on varsity. Filled the in. We weren't sure where we were going to go with the number 2 doubles pair, and he and his partner, who you'll meet in a few minutes, they stepped up and really helped us accomplish what we were able to accomplish this year. And his sister, Christina, a senior, also for the club. Look at Lou. As a junior, this was his first year in varsity, and he'll be with us next year. Also a junior will be with us next year, Emily Chang, come on up. And the other junior, who has been a part of our varsity team since freshman, Emery Chang. And then her partner, Andrew, finished in second in CIF this year in mixed doubles. The senior, who has been with our program and the comedic relief oftentimes for our program for all 4 years, Ethan, come on up. Ethan and his partner Arnold finished in 5th in CIF in boys doubles. Joel Lee, come on up. Joel is another one of our seniors, and we put him into the mix. We had a team withdraw on the eve of the tournament, so we put him in with a player who's not coming tonight. Her name is Selena Tang. She's in Hawaii, so don't feel bad for her. And they ended up finishing in 5th in CIF and mixed. Another one of our junior co-captains, Kathy Liu, come on up. Sophomore, Matthew Lee. So the last time I saw Matthew, I handed him a second place medal for CIF individuals for boys singles and told him I think this is the last time I should be handing him a second place medal. Fantastic job this year. And for those of you who know Max Lee, who was part of our team since its founding, this is his little brother and his, I'm going to say it, his better brother. Basketball program's loss is our gain. Matthew, you come on up. Matthew wanted to play a sport in the spring. He's been a badminton player for a while, but he didn't think there were spots available. When we found out there were, we were able to bring him in, and he played varsity for us. Primarily in singles and did a really nice job. Senior co-captain, Melody Yang. This is the heart and soul of the program, so give her a hand. Our newest assistant captain for coming year, Pauline Tong, come on up. So Pauline and Melody together finished in second in CIF this year in girls double, losing to a pair we'll introduce in a minute. Yeah, again, they practiced, they trained together, played together, and it was always ridiculously close. So it was anybody's guess as to how it was going to play out. Your singles player, sophomore, we'll talk a little bit more about her in a second. Rianne Chan, come on up. Senior, Rosemary King, come on up. Rosemary, somebody I had to convince 2 years ago to try to stay in the program because she had so many other things going. We're very glad you did. Russell Hua, come on up. Russell was a junior, a doubles player, been on our program all 3 years. This is his first year in varsity. Selena Tang could not make it today. Again, she's enjoying whatever it is Hawaii has to offer. Sydney Wang, come on up. He is a sophomore. He is a doubles player. He was Caleb's partner. And we challenged them throughout the season to get better. Part of what they needed to do to get better was to start actually talking to each other. They're both a little shy. But once they started communicating both on the court and off, their season turned around. Very nice job. Russell's sister Valerie has been with our program for 4 years as well. All this year. Thank you. Okay, so again, a big hand for the people that put the matching button. So in our short history, we have had a boys doubles team that won CIF several years ago, Matthew's brother Max and Kenneth Chan. And 2 years ago, we had a girls doubles pair that won CIF. And that same girls doubles pair won CIF a week ago. Kathy and Andrew, come on up. And finally, Brianne, come back. So I am part of the badminton committee for CIF, and we have to sit down and seed players. And we seeded Andrea and Kathy first, Pauline and Melody second, and we got that right. We were almost wrong, but we got that right. We seeded Rianne third. We got that violently wrong. She beat the defending champ in 2 sets in the semifinals, and then beat a nemesis that she told me in confidence earlier in that week she wasn't sure she could actually beat to win the title, also in 2 sets. So fantastic job. So with that, guys, thank you. Coaches, thank you. And now we set the bar real high and we know what we got to do next year. Thank you very much. Let's say a couple of things. Melissa has been fantastic as the athletic director. As a program, starting with Ryan and then with Melissa, we've been the envy of most other programs. We get gym time without having to fight for gym time. We're not told that we have to sit back and wait for other programs. That has made things very easy for us. We're also able to host a lot of events because of that. But thanks to the district and to everybody who was instrumental in allowing us to play. I had several conversations with coaches who were told that when their gyms became open, they were not going to be allowed to play because their sport was not prioritized and basketball and volleyball was going to get to play. And that's heartbreaking to kids who had been working. But this group always knew that we would be playing this year, and I always knew we'd be playing because I knew the district supported it. So thank you.
Everybody, we're up here, and then we'll do kind of 2 lines with you guys.
Don't be shy. Come on up. You would say. We are the biggest group. And then one day we got an email from the science. So she was trying to make this out.
Hey, Brian, yes. Let's do it. This, we house here in the AAC for generations to come. This is for you guys, so. All right, Mr. Styles and Security, let's tuck it in a little bit.
I can't tuck it in. Feel the mask or do you want the mask on?
That's
I defer to our captains. They do that a lot.
all right.
You're gonna show these. Which is hot. Yes.
Okay. And the excitement does not end because the next up, we have the appointment of Dana Middle School Principal, effective July 19th, 2021. Dr. Hiroshu.
All right, very good. Excellent. Right. So as you know, we are very, very proud of our thorough and inclusive recruitment processes here in Arcadia. There are a few things that really attract strong candidate pools to AUSD. One, it's our reputation for success and serving the whole child. Number two, our competitive total compensation, thanks to the Board of Education. And also the culture, which is something that we are very proud of here in Arcadia. Principal positions are among the most important positions for us to fill here in Arcadia. And therefore, we have very inclusive processes related to that, to the recruitment. We have staff input and thought exchanges that go out. We have PTA input sessions and thought exchanges that go out.
Of course, we have diverse makeup panels for both the application screening and the initial round of interviews. We have our very unique candidate reception. And then, of course, we have final interviews with the executive team. In this case, we had 41 applicants that were screened in. And of those 41 applicants, 7 applicants moved forward to the initial interview round. And then, of course, 4 applicants, finalists, moved forward for our candidate reception and our final interviews, which happened today. So with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Brent Forsey to do a brief introduction.
All right. So Travis, through the interview process and the candidate reception, kept rising and rising and rising. And then when you look at his track record along the way and the work and the leadership, and also quiet leadership, but he's like a quiet little locomotive that's running down the tracks. And you look at the school and the staff and you get feedback and you hear about the way that he leads and the way he works with people. And it really just fits us and it fits our culture. And so it's not very often you get an opportunity to offer another leadership position within a district. And so this is a very unique opportunity for Travis to change levels and take on a new challenge. And he acknowledged that this is going to be a new challenge. And there are areas where he will grow. But we are so excited to watch him and his leadership style take on that new challenge as the principal of Dana. And so we would like to recommend Travis as the new principal to succeed Daniel Acking at Dana Middle School.
Okay, could I have a motion?
I move that we approve the appointment of Travis Long as the new principal of Dana Middle School starting in July 19th.
Second. Okay, the motion was made by Mrs. Chavez and seconded by Mr. Chiang. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations.
So just a huge thank you to the board for this. This is a dream come true. I'm so excited to take the reins over from Daniel. Some big shoes to fill at the middle school, but what a privilege and what an honor and a blessing. And I just first want to just say to my Lonely Way family, I'm going to miss them so much because they're amazing. And I have such high regard for all of them. I've learned so much from the teachers and staff there, and I know that they will continue to thrive. And I'm very, very excited to join the Dana team. They are a wonderful group of people that I've got to know a little bit over the years, but I'm so excited to jump in further with them and just continue. And I know Brad Smith is here tonight. Where is he, Brad? And learn from Brad as well, the new assistant principal there, but he's been at Dana for quite a long time. And so I know I'll learn from him as well. And I also want to give a big shout out to my 5 or 4 people who were on part of the interview process. One of them being Bhavini, who was here, and she just awesome. So just to have them part of this as well, they were really impressive people. They were fun hanging out with them yesterday. So I'm really touched that they were just part of this. And here's my wife, Trisha, and my 2 kids, Amelie and Sawyer. They came. He just had a baseball game, and so they came as well. And I just thank you so much. So looking forward to it.
Thank you.
You do photos or anything?
Absolutely. Photos for everything.
Get out of it. This is okay.
That's right.
Yeah, it's just looking, it's like.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Item B is the public hearing on the Arcadia Unified School District Local Control and Accountability Plan, the LCAP for 2021-2024. Now, this is strictly a public hearing, so I will open the public hearing. And if anybody would like to speak on our LCAP. Okay, with that, hearing no comments, we will close the public hearing. The next one is item C, the public hearing on the Arcadia Unified School District budget for 2021-2022. We will open the public hearing. Any comments? Okay, hearing no comments, we will close the public hearing. Now we are to the Arcadia Unified School District California School Employees Association, CSEA, public hearing and approval of the tentative agreement for 2020-2021 and AB 1200. Dr. Hirschu, I understand you're going to give us a little preface before we do all this.
Thank you. So as you know, Arcadia and CSCA, we've been in traditional bargaining for the last couple of years. This tentative agreement that we present tonight is a result of bargaining, and recommend approval of the tentative agreement in AB 1200.
Thank you. Okay, the first thing we'll do is have the public hearing. So I will open the public hearing. Any comments? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing. Okay, I need to have a motion for approving the tentative agreement.
I move to approve the tentative agreement for 2020-2021 for the Employees Association, for California School Employees Association.
A second.
Okay, so the motion was made by Mr. Eng and seconded by Mrs. Yi. Any discussion on the tentative agreement? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor of approving the tentative agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Too many papers. And wait, we're down to resolution 1430 with the vacation payout option.
Great.
Here's you.
Thank you so much. So as you know, COVID-19 and our shutdown has brought many challenges to AUSD. But one of the challenges that affected employees was the inability for some to be able to utilize vacation during that time. So basically, in essence, what this resolution allows us to do on a one-time basis is to give employees choice in relation to their excess balances in vacation. So in essence, anything that would be accrued over 1 year would be eligible for either to be rolled over or for a payout on a one-time basis, not to exceed what would be 1.5 years in excess if they opt to. So with that, we recommend for approval, resolution 1430, vacation payout option.
Okay. I'll read the resolution. It's resolution 1430 regarding vacation payout option. Whereas classified employees, both represented and unrepresented, and certificated and classified management employees accrue vacation pursuant to Education Code and board policy. Whereas due to the COVID-19 pandemic, some employees were unable to fully utilize their accrued vacation during the 2019-20 and 2020-2021 school years. Whereas the district recently entered into a memorandum of understanding with the California School Employees Association and its Arcadia chapter number 40 in regards to vacation payout rollover options due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Whereas the the governing board desires to extend a one-time vacation payout option to other employee groups to reduce the financial liability associated with the accrued vacation balances. Now, therefore, be it resolved that notwithstanding board policy 4262/4362 or any other policy to the contrary, unrepresented classified employees, including supervisory and confidential employees, and both certificated and classified management employees, inclusive of employees on individual contract, have the option to roll over unused vacation to 2021-22 or be paid out in the balance paid out the balance in excess of 1 year's vacation allotment. The payout of unused vacation may not exceed the amount equivalent to 1.5 years vacation allotment. And or his designee shall inform the effective employees of their option to carry over vacation leave to the 2021-2022 school year or be paid out. Passed and adopted by the governing board. We have to have that vote first. So, yeah, I have a motion.
I'll move to approve resolution number 1430, vacation payout option.
Second.
Okay, the motion was made by Mrs. Yi and seconded by Mr. Chung. Is there any discussion?
I have a question, Dr. Hirschhorn. Maybe I just missed it. How long will our staff have to make a decision about what they prefer? Is there a drop dead date for?
There are drop
Get to
dead
wait?
dates, but I can't recall off the top of my head. David Vong and payroll have been sending out those timeline specific emails to employees. So I'd have to get back to you on the specific dates, but there is specific windows related to that. Oh.
So this resolution kind of, I think, expands on the MOU we had with CSEA. Within the CSEA MOU, the members had until May 28th to notify our payroll department whether they wanted to take the payout option or basically carry over their unused balance. I think because of this resolution, I think that deadline was extended for the other groups beyond CSEA. I've shared some emails, and I think we initially had, I've notified folks, and I initially said May 28th, but we've extended it because technically payroll will not process these payouts until the end of the fiscal year, which is June 30th. So we definitely have time. And so I've been in touch with folks that have asked for extensions or asked for the payout beyond May 28th.
So it needs to be sometime before the end of this month. That's what you're saying. Going to process at the end of this month.
Yes, because what we're going to do is payroll will wait until June 30th to confirm all the vacation balances are actually reported for anyone that's taken vacation since. And we'll process the payout in early July after we confirm all vacation leave is reported.
Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions or comments? Very good. With that, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously with no abstentions or absences. Okay. Next is the resolution number 1431, LGBTQ plus Pride Month, June 2021.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. So June is Pride Month, when the world's LGBTQ communities come together and celebrate the freedom to be themselves. Pride gatherings are rooted in the arduous history of minority groups who have struggled for decades to overcome prejudice and be accepted for who they are. The original organizers chose this month to pay homage to the Stonewall Uprising in June 1969 in New York City, which helped spark the modern gay rights movement. Most Pride events take place each year in June, although some cities hold their celebrations at other times of the year. So I'm pleased, Madam President, to bring this resolution to you tonight in recognition and celebration of the LGBTQ community within our Arcadia family.
Very good. I'll read the resolution and then we'll get the motion. Resolution 1431, LGBTQ plus Pride Month, June 2021. Whereas public education serves families who represent great diversity, and it is our shared responsibility to ensure that everyone in each of our school communities is valued and respected regardless of gender identity, gender expression, and sexual orientation. And whereas the district is fully committed to creating a positive climate, maintaining a safe and welcoming environment, and promoting a strong sense of belonging in our schools. And whereas the district is furthermore committed to having that sense of belonging extended to families in the district, as well as students, teachers, staff, so everyone is welcomed equally to our campuses. And whereas June has been recognized as a time to honor and reflect on the history and achievements of the LGBTQ plus community and the 1969 Stonewall Uprising that served as the catalyst for the modern LGBTQ plus civil rights movement. And whereas the decades since have been one of struggle and celebration for the LGBTQ plus community, despite increased support and acceptance, LGBTQ plus young people still face many challenges. And whereas it is imperative that young people and communities at large, irrespective of sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression, feel valued, safe, empowered, and supported by their peers and community leaders. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the governing board of the Arcadia Unified School District that the month of June is designated as LGBTQ plus Pride Month, this 8th day of June, 2021, at a regular meeting of the Arcadia Unified School Board of Education. Okay, could I have a motion?
I'll move to approve resolution number 1431, adopting June 2021 as LGBTQ Pride Month, or plus Pride Month.
Okay, the motion was made by Mr. Chung and seconded by Mrs. Chavez. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. There were no items removed from the information or from the consent agenda. We are to the board presentation of School Spotlight and a snapshot of the Arcadia High School class of 2021. Dr. Forsey.
All right. Well, I will welcome Ms. Dillman up as I share a little bit. I'm sure in a year that has felt like 7 or 8 in many ways. It is an amazing opportunity to go back to one of our cherished traditions, which is to present the class, the graduating class, and for the board to see some of the outstanding data. And I think what I would point out, and I know Ms. Dillon feels the same way, that this is a culmination in Arcadia and that it is built from a TK-12 foundation. It is not simply the high school alone that gets these kids here, and everyone that works at the high school knows that. It is truly a foundation built TK through 12. And so for all of the principals that I know are watching the live stream, thank you for all the work that you do to bring these kids to the high school to this amazing conclusion.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Andrew Poon, of course, former APTA president and current school guidance counselor, will be presenting the class of 2021 graduate data. And I think that Mrs. Chavez said it best, that this is an unprecedented year. And you will see that these accomplishments of these fine students are also unprecedented. In my graduation speech, I mentioned that, it's not about this one moment, but it's all the years getting to this moment. And man, they really made the most of it.
Well, thank you. So, now I'm back in my role as a senior counselor for this year, finishing with the class of 2021. And then, Scott, if we go to the first slide. So here's our numbers for this year. So 774 students. So with that trend, declining enrollment, but increasing needs. That's pretty much has been the theme for the last 4 years.
Yeah, and we want to dig down on that 774 students. Of those 774, 773 will graduate with an Arcadia High School diploma. Unfortunately, 7 of them were still working on their last class come graduation day, but as of today, 5 of them have finished. And they're graduates. 2 more?
Yep, 2 more.
Almost there.
Almost there.
Yeah. So our official graduation rate is
99.9-ish.
Yeah. So we'll take it.
We'll take that. So with the stats, This is the highest GPA we've had since we've been collecting data for the last 8 years. So if you went to the ceremony, you got to see 117 salutatorians recognized. So I'm a little bit jealous, Brent, that Angie didn't have to read all of them this time, but we had a lot that were acknowledged in there. But 3.47, usually our GPA is not 3.3. And then some people might talk about hold harmless in that area, but
And, you know, we were talking about this, and people might look at hold harmless as a grade booster, but it's really not quite accurate. So last year on March 13th, that was the end of third quarter. Historically, when we look at our data, third quarter, that's our lowest GPA of the year. You know, they really like ramp it up for the end of the semester, and then they're feeling good, things slide a little bit, and then they, you know, really work hard to make sure that their grades are back up by the end of semester 2. So when we stopped and those grades were kind of frozen, it was at the lowest point for most students. And while they could raise, they always do. They almost never go lower than they are at third quarter. So this is really just how hard our students are working.
And you notice there's asterisk, and this pretty much everything in the last year has an asterisk next to it right now. But you see, so we don't have data, of course, obviously we don't have data from 2020's national SAT or ACT, but these numbers hold pretty true year to year. But what also holds true is how high our students have done on the average SAT and ACT. So once again, a great work from the entire staffing community to get these SAT and ACT scores up. Especially and even at a time when standardized testing is no longer part of the college admission process for a lot of schools.
And we'll talk more about these tests a little bit later on. All right, Scott.
Okay, this is something that we've kept track for the last couple of years. We're always fighting the rumors that every kid at Arcadia High School is taking 13, 12, like 95 AP classes. That's just not the case. So every year, it's not the numbers are taking, but the number they're accessing that's actually more important. So you see over 72% of our students were enrolled in one or more AP or honors courses. And that was a specific target that we've done and looked at over the last couple of years. And it was also true over the last 5 or 6 years. The average number of APs or honors taken was 6 over the duration of high school.
So students can start taking AP courses in sophomore year. So if it's an average of 2 per year, or even just 3 in junior and senior year, that is the balance that we're asking of our students. And despite some of, you know, the reputations that we might have as, you know, all of our students taking 95 AP courses, they really are making those wise, intelligent decisions for themselves. And we'll see that reflected several times tonight.
And the other part is, if you just look at our valedictorian this year, is she brilliant? Yes. One of the most special students I've worked with? Yes. Is she a unicorn? That's what I call her. She's my unicorn because she has so many special talents. But did she take every AP ever invented? No. But her classmates recognized that. She recognized that because she had a lot of skills outside of the classrooms too, and getting that balance. And the staff and the students saw it, and they appreciate that. So our messaging over the last half a decade plus is sinking in. So we're seeing some of those changes systemically in our community.
Absolutely. All right, think we can go on?
So
this is a big one. This is really important to us.
Yeah, so this is when Brentford started at our high school. This is something that we looked at right from 2014. The balance between academics and extracurriculars. When we first started this, we were hovering just slightly above majority of those who felt like they had the right balance. And it was such an important focus that we made it a WASC goal during that first WASC reading and first WASC goal when we were working on it. And you can see our numbers have held consistent over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and even like when you look at Rachel, our valedictorian, she could have taken every single AP class and done wonderfully in all of them, but she chose her passions. Her activities outside of the high school were just as important to her as her academics. And the other day, one of the last days of school, I was talking to Connor, our former student rep to the board, and we were talking about this balance. And he said, no, it's our electives, our extracurriculars. That's what is our stress relief. Like, we want to do those. We want to spend time there. And students are really finding that balance that is, keeping them healthy, keeping them engaged. And when we look at how many students came back for courses, it was the end of the year. Most of our students are getting ready for AP classes, but hundreds more students came back for athletics, for theater, for stagecraft. These are the things that they're passionate about, that fill their hearts. They'll definitely do their schoolwork. They always will. but there's so much more to high school and to life than just courses, and students are finding that balance. All right, Scott.
And this is our newest slide, but probably most important slide over the last year. So we've talked about this endlessly probably for the last 2 years. It was a theory a year ago, and we were able to implement student wellness, different resources into our campuses with it even being closed. So it was a great opportunity.
Yeah, I think, was this a conversation we had over ramen?
Yeah, I think
so we were, just hanging out probably before dinner like this, or for a meeting like this, and we grabbed dinner. And I was telling Andrew, it is my goal that before I am, done with my term as Arcadia High School principal, to have a wellness program. And we talked about, okay, like a program is a person, activities, plans. Let's start with a wellness space. So in the week of March 13th, we started to have deliveries made, and we had cleared out this space. And then school closed, and it remained empty for almost a year. But the idea only flourished into a full-blown program. And it was everything that our world had been through over the ensuing months that led to this. And it was really the support of our district leadership that allowed us to have a full-time wellness counselor to be brought on during a pandemic to make sure that our students were finding that balance and were healthy. And not just our students, but our wellness program has been able to serve our parents and even our staff. And, I think that this really just also shows the strength of our entire team, because, my narrow mindset of what a wellness program was nothing compared to what it has become with Michelle's input, with Andrew's input. And so really our entire team, especially in the counseling department.
So you notice this photo here. So that's our new wellness center space now with more softer lighting. So now it's a not as industrial setting, but it's a great place. I joke about this because Angie says she will do anything to build a wellness space. And looking at that photo, that statement is literal. So if you notice in the back corner, you see a little bookcase. So it took the hands of Principal Dillman and Miss Lou and myself, and we actually built that. It took us longer than we would like to admit. We built that with our 2 hands. So when we say we did everything to build it, that was a quite literal statement that we built things, and a lot of this is thanks to Michelle's trips to IKEA and building some lighting.
So leftover parts to that. Still, it's there.
And, from the stats, we saw 112 individual student meetings. What's more important than those meetings is you see that 88% were referred by staff members and by teachers. So we have buy-in from the staff. So this isn't just us going out into the hallways looking for students, or us looking, just finding random students to meet with. These are the teachers who meet with these students every day.
Yeah, they use the breakout sessions. I was having dinner with a teacher. I feel like maybe I'm going out to dinner too much, but I was having dinner with a teacher last night, and she said I could just see the body language of this student. And I asked them to, join me in a private group, and she was able to refer her to counseling. She was able to give her an extension on her assignment. And just that noticing and that extra attention was everything that student needed. And of course, we had the wellness program there to serve her.
And I love the term that Brent used in a previous meeting, talking about not using learning loss, but learning gains. One of the learning gains that we learned is we extended our parent meetings online. So this is the first time we offered every parent meeting online. And looking at the data and looking at what we offered, moving these wellness meetings for parents online, for them a safe and anonymous space to get resources, because we're in a community where mental health has not always been openly discussed. I know I grew up in a family where it was not openly discussed, and I see the kind of similarities in some of my students in the community. But having this online, having it there for families, we saw the families utilize it because of the confidential nature, and we were able to get more referrals than ever. And so on the bottom, you see some of our stats. So the things that hold very true. October is still the #1 month for referrals. So these are the referrals from Care Solace. So the happy news is that our total number of Care Solace referrals has gone down, but it just means that we are now dealing and addressing these issues on site with our own resources.
Yeah, absolutely. And students being at home and being under the care of their parents is huge, and parent participation and parent support and parents recognizing struggles, it really speaks to this as well. And parents have been great partners in us. But we do see some trends that we see every year. October is a tough time for educators. We're really in the long, we're in the long haul, we're in the year, vacations seem far away, and it feels that way for students as well. So, if we as educators are feeling stressed out and exhausted, so are students. And for that reason, we've looked at this data, and with Deja, we've kind of mapped out the year to have, to build programs around this data. Like, okay, this is a time where we need to focus on stress. This is a time where we need to focus on, healthy eating habits. So, et cetera, anxiety. So we're really using this data to help us plan and grow and improve as we move forward to bringing students back. Right, Scott?
And now we come to the fun part. So we see our high school data. What stands out to us looking at it, we are ecstatic with the numbers. It held consistent from post-high school plans and our plans of our students after high school, held consistent regardless of all that has happened to this class of 2021. We just had a conversation this afternoon saying, people always make fun of the younger generation, being for some kind of shortcoming or shortfall. But this 2021 class has shown us strength like no other. They have shown adversity through difficult times. They have shown the adaptability. You just see the smiles on their face through prom and graduation, and they showed appreciation for the different opportunities given.
And I think that this also shows wisdom. We have 90% of our students qualifying for a four-year university, but they are making conscientious choices to do what they're ready for, to do what's going to set them up for the best future. And that is oftentimes starting at a 2-year, not as a last resort by any means, but as a choice. And our students are doing that willingly. And that also comes from hearing the really amazing success stories of so many of our graduates who started a 2-year and then go on to very elite schools and to great success.
It's just great to see that, over 90% of them still qualify. In years past, schools have focused on a number of students going to four-year colleges, but people are really involving how we look at what post-high school plans mean. Yeah. It's something we started when Brent was still at the high school and something we looked at differently. We want to know what are these kids and why, and we've used that senior survey to now delve deeper into why they're making the choices they're making.
And one of the advantages of having spent time at the middle school here in Arcadia is kind of hearing concerns about what it's going to be like in high school and the idea of what an Arcadia high school student is or needs to be. And an Arcadia high school student is any student. Like, we serve every single student at our school, and it doesn't matter where you came from. This year, we were lucky enough to welcome back some of even sophomores, seniors, a few students who had gone K-8 to Arcadia and then gone to privates, but came back to the high school this year. And they loved it. They're just like, I just didn't think it would be like this. I didn't think it would be so supportive. I was afraid to come here, but I'm so glad I'm back. All right, Scott.
And so looking at those numbers of the 2-year versus 4-year, so these are the reasons. So we have of course, the number one reason is to save money because the pandemic has affected our families financially. A lot of them have been put in some difficult situations, so which have made sense. But this year for the data, what sticks out is where 2-year college was their first choice and the other. I've had multiple sit-down meetings with some of my students, and the reason is, I haven't done real school in about 1.5 years. So I need to get myself in that rhythm. Or put a little bit more bluntly, I haven't worn pants without an elastic waist probably for the last 2 years. I probably should get myself back acclimated, dressing like a little bit like an adult before I head over to college.
And again, the wisdom of students, they're really just making wise choices about what they're ready for. And we have faith in their academic preparation, but they want to feel that they are putting their money where it's best going to be spent. All right, next one. So Andrew, I have to say that when you and Brent were doing these presentations, I always thought these pictures were hilarious. But now that I'm in my second year at USC, like, this is still a Brent about, like, a joke about Brent, right? Okay, good.
8-year running.
All right. So this is where it really gets exciting, where we see what our students, where they're headed next year. And again, the data has only increased during this time. But, we didn't really know what students were doing every day. They were applying to colleges.
Yep. So use that time wisely at home, and thanks to the work of our college affairs center, Ms. Fitz and Ms. Wona, do their work there, and then getting connected to different colleges. We noticed that you see just the massive increase, and a big reason for that is the removal of standardized testing. So there has been a gatekeeper for a lot of students, and because of that, if we see it on our campus, every school in America has probably seen this in high school to see the increase in applications to their college. And you see, so Irvine again has won for the most applied to college from our students, with USC as a private. I'll just say that word.
Yes, but our students are, they really are taking this seriously, and they're finding like really what's the right match for me. And when we get to the end, we always see the colleges that our students are applying to that's getting more and more diverse and much, much broader. So it's really exciting that they're thinking outside of the box. All right, next.
And just briefly, just want to go over our UC data for this class. So, we're pretty consistent with our numbers, and that's actually even more impressive with the increase in applications this year, with the UCs going test optional and test blind for some schools, for our acceptance rates and our accepted student numbers to hold pretty consistent. We were very impressed with the student body and what the class has done.
Yeah, and Berkeley and UCLA in particular, they're always the most applied to, and their acceptance rate is low, and their applicant rate skyrocketed this year, along with the Ivies, as you can imagine. But even with that competition, not just from other Californians, but from students around the country and around the world, our acceptance rate of Arcadia students stayed the same. All right, and next is our Ivy and Stanford.
Ivy and Stanford. So looking at this, so Harvard's doing Harvard things, so we'll just kind of ignore that. We all pretty impressed with the numbers here, with Stanford being probably the standout. We really have that many get accepted to Stanford.
Yeah, this is, and again, these schools in particular, some of them had over 100% increase in applications. This is extremely competitive in normal times, and it only got more competitive, and our acceptance rate stayed the same, and for a few of these schools, slightly higher. All right, next.
And from the data, so a lot of students did want to stay in California. So with not only with PCC, but a lot of students, because of the pandemic, they didn't feel ready to venture out as much as before. So you see a lot of students do apply for a Cal State and a UC system. And then, but more importantly, it's actually the number on the bottom. So we see that we have a couple of students, more of students who applied to 0 or 4 colleges, when some did 10 plus. So there's 2 schools of thought. Some of them were like, oh, maybe I'll try 1 or 2 schools. If I don't get in, I'm going to do PCC. Or the other group is, hey, there's no standardized testing right now, so I'm going to apply everywhere. But I think we will work with any student, because I think one of the stereotypes I think we have to fight is that we only tailor to a certain type of student or one kind of student. But the data shows that we can work with a variety of situations, a variety of students, and that's with all the resources that was been given to us.
Yeah, and that we really work with students, because the more we know about what their plans are for after high school, we will make sure that they're on track, because it's not just about that A to G preparation. There's lots of other 4-year schools that don't have that same criteria, and 90% of our students are prepared for it. All right, Scott. So this was the big change. The SAT subject tests are discontinued. They've already finished, right?
They're done.
So, students will be looking at other ways to maybe take summer school classes to show proficiency in like foreign language and some other ways that our students have used these tests. But the biggest game changer is the standardized test. We don't know for sure if schools will stay test optional or test blind. That is something that's been a moving target throughout this time, but luckily our college and career counselor, Amanda Fitz, she is on top of all of this information and keeps our community very informed.
Yeah, until 2025, at the very least, for UCs, they're going to go test free for it right now, and many private colleges are going to go test optional or test blind. Because of this, we saw 30% increases to different UCs. Like UCLA is about 29% increase. Berkeley had a 28% increase. MIT had a 66% increase because of the removal of standardized testing. And then I think the record is Colgate, 104% increase in applications because of this.
All right, Scott. Okay, so this is something that you'll definitely want to look through on your own because there's a long list of these hundreds of schools that our students applied to. So we can scroll through. Yeah, you can see lots and lots of applications there. So standouts like Cal Poly Pomona. If you go to the next slide.
It's so fun to see some of them. We have a culinary school, we have technical schools, FITM, we have all kinds of schools out there.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can go to the next slide, Scott.
5 of these.
Yeah, and we'll see like a lot of state schools. I've talked to so many students who are going back to the Midwest where I'm from, going to Purdue, going to Michigan. So, our students are really, finding the places that are right for them. Ohio State's on there. Yeah. I think that's it, right? No, one more? JK.
There's one more.
One more after that. Yes. All right. So, the list is too long, but it's really interesting if you have time to take a look at where our students are applying. I know Gonzaga was on there, Dr. Hershey. All right. Last one. Last slide. So tonight, truly, the class of 2021, that is our spotlight. That is the true spotlight. Our students are the stars all of the time. But even during the most challenging of years, we were able to build programs like the Wellness Center, but so many more. And our leadership team reflected on what we were most proud of this year. And there are many, many things to be proud of, always our students, but I'm so proud of our admin team and the work that they did to stretch ourselves to support more and more students. And it's their partnership with our staff, our students, and our parents that, we really put our money where our mouth is, that we serve every student. And what we've been able to do during this time really speaks to that. So I'm going to go through the programs. I'll ask John to take Mr. Poon's place. So there's a video that you can also watch on your own time because I am very aware that Arcadia High School has dominated quite a bit of this evening, but we did create a video of these people sharing their stories about what it was like to work in these programs this year. I chose to spotlight our school health clerk, Miss Ariano. I don't even think she realizes how much she did to make sure our students were able to safely come back to so many activities. Starting in November, we were having students on campus training in athletics, and it's really paying off for us here in the postseason. And also our PTSA president, Jennifer Jackson. It was really hard to lead a big group of parents through this time and to make sure that we were adjusting the way we were thinking about all of our traditions, and she really did a beautiful job. Dr. Bhakta highlighted the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion program, which she created from the ground up. And she chose to spotlight the English department chair, Chris Schultz, who's leading his department in increasing the diversity of the literature offered. So truly, every student can see their own experience and their own voice reflected in the literature that we study at the school. And our student Kathy Liu, who is a member of the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion team, we added an EDI position to ASB to make sure that every student's voice is reflected in our student government. Mr. Munoz highlighted Link Crew and their advisor, Ms. Sullivan, and Gavin Doe, one of the Link Crew leaders. It was a unique experience, to say the least, to have a current 9th grade orientation in April after they had been students for 3 quarters at our school, but students were able to come back and be shown around the high school. And Mr. Kearney highlighted our theater department, and Mr. Volpe, we started with a virtual play and then we ended with a live play. And that was definitely a very unique and challenging circumstances, but they did an amazing job. I'll come back to CTE. Our blended learning program was created to make sure that students were going to stay on track to graduate. And we had grad coaches who are instructional assistants working with students to make sure that they were making up classes. And our student Golden Yee was really, we were all fighting for him and hoping for him. And he made such a comeback senior year, but it was really only with the support of this program and Miss Liu's hard work in building this. Mr. Press did an amazing job with ASB and making sure that our students had so many activities, including a prom. I did not see that one coming, but thank you, Mr. Press. And it was planned in 2 weeks. Yes, it was. And it was awesome. And you've seen the leadership of Ms. Pro Teach in athletics. And, you know, we truly thank each and every one of you because athletics really kept our students going. And we saw so many schools near and far that just weren't willing to take the risk. But with your leadership, with your guidance, with our district nurse and with Melitza, reinventing processes and procedures on a daily basis, and giving COVID tested students and coaches, you know, it really made sure that our kids had a great experience when possible. And we have 4 teams that have made it to CIF. Obviously, we saw Batman win. We have 1 more team, our boys basketball team, in the championships tomorrow at Arcadia High School, if anybody's around, 7 o'clock. So, and it really is, that is very much due to Melitza's leadership. And now I will turn it over to Mr. Finn, who is going to give a special message about CTE, the program he'd like to highlight.
So we were, I highlighted CT for a lot of reasons. When you look at Frank Nunez and what he's done for the district, and what he promotes with everything he does, that's why I chose him as a teacher. And then Andrew Liu is a highlight of a student in CTE programs who didn't have a connection. And that was it. Sorry about this. I've worked closely with Debbie Young for about 15 years. And this is her last year. And the work she's done to take this program from ROP well before I got there almost 30 years ago, all the way to where we are now with CTE, to go from single ROP classes to now pathways where you have to have multiple classes, sometimes 3 classes for students to actually qualify completing a pathway. And as all of you know, that's something the school has looked at or rated on. And the way she has worked at, with the help of the teachers and with everybody working together, but she's been the guide. The CTEIG grant, which basically funds the program now, everything she's done. So I just think it's important that we recognize the dedication. The old commercial, this is Joe Albertson's market, but the meat department is mine. That's Debbie Young. And anybody who's been in a meeting with her when we talk about finances knows that's Debbie Young. She wants to make sure the program thrives. She really focuses on the individual students as well as the programs themselves and the teachers, the support she gives them in trying to get them. And trust me, some of the demands, I know Frank wouldn't be ashamed for me saying that. She's like, oh my gosh, he wants something more. But when we see the quality of the work that he and his students put out, that's why we keep fighting to keep those programs going. But she's been a real catalyst for all this for almost 30 years here in Arcadia. And she came into it with business experience, but no experience in teaching. And she's in going to all the conferences that I've gone with her. She's probably the only one that never actually taught a course, but she's also the most respected leader of a program. When I go to these, November, we have a 2-day conference in the desert. And just the amount of people that come up to her. And when I say, oh yeah, I'm at Arcadia High, oh, you're so lucky you work with Debbie. And it's true. She has networked. She can call on anybody for help. And I do have her on my, I guess we can still use the term speed dial. But she's definitely going to stay on my phone, and she knows that I will be calling her if I have questions. But I just think it's important that we recognize her today because she is the key to that program. Thank you.
Thank you so much. School reopening updates, Dr. Van Osdol.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I'm gonna, before I turn it over for the individual reports, I think the single most important piece of data that I can share as we look at the ending of the year is that we were able to finish the last 6 weeks, and especially ending the school year with 0 cases of COVID-19, and that's for staff and students. And I say that knowing the amount of work, just like you were just talking about with the athletics. So many people, when we made the commitment to come back, and knowing with heavy hearts that there's a big responsibility, knowing that safety and health of our students and staff was number one through this entire pandemic. When we decided to come back, making sure that all of the screening processes were in place, the testing for our student athletes, the checks every morning. I know I had to do those checks every morning, dropping my kids off in the line. The teachers making sure the social distancing, just so many variables that had to be covered, and they had to be done diligently every single day. And it paid off. That exactly what you were talking about with what this has meant for our student athletes, being on our campuses and seeing the elementary students, seeing their friends for the first time after almost a year, being with their teachers. It absolutely meant the world. And so just a celebration to all of us for picking the sweet spot to return, knowing that the number of transmissions were almost down to 0, and it was the right time to return and allow our students to experience school again this year. So that's just a celebration. And with that, I'll start with, since Derek is at his daughter's graduation, our Assistant Superintendent for Human Resource Services, Dr. Harish.
All right, thank you so much. A brief update on health services. They are planning, they're in the planning phase for next year. You'll notice that on consent, we have some contracts for vision and hearing screening. You may recall that all of that had been suspended during the shutdown and of course during this year. So we're excited to get that back up and running next year. In addition to that, she will continue to explore options for vaccination clinics with our partners, Albert Funds. So we will keep you informed as it progresses. Moving on to special education, on behalf of Dr. Catherine Mahoney, our extended school year program is off to a great start on Monday. We have our preschool through 5 program at Camino Grove, and our middle and high school programs, as well as our transitional programs at the high school. We're very excited to have that offer this year. And then really the big summer project for special ed right now is hiring for instructional aides. During the pandemic, we were able to be very creative with our staffing with aides. And now that we're looking to return to in-person and normal setting to the extent possible, we are looking to fill several instructional positions. Then moving on to HR, this continues to be an exciting time for us hiring-wise, and that continues. And that concludes my report.
Questions? I have one question. Since those screenings, we skipped a year. Will we be doing 2 years worth of students so that they all get screened?
I don't know that, Kay. I'll have to find out for you. Not really sure how that's going to work for next year. I can find out.
Thank you.
Welcome.
I was wondering.
All right, next, our Assistant Superintendent for Educational Services, Dr. Forsey.
Thank you, Dr. Van Osdal. My reopening word is commencement, which means beginning or opening. Thank you to everyone who shepherded our kids from TK-12 to their Rancho and Arcadia High School commencements. And so our reopening update is we opened, we finished graduation, and we're headed towards the summer. And Ed Services will be working with Kevin on the Longley Way principalship over the next few weeks. So what's old is new again. And that is my update for tonight.
All right, next we have our Chief Strategy and Innovation Officer, Greg Gazanian.
It's tough to decide what to share tonight because we are gearing up for what is going to be a very interesting summer and school year next year. We have learned a lot. Similar to Dr. Forsey, tonight is about thank yous and celebrating what we've done this year. So it's always tricky to thank people because there's so many people to thank, but I'm going to talk about a few departments that I work directly with during this process on health and safety and a few other things. So Our district nurse, Erica Newkirk, has done an amazing job tracking the regulations and rules that change literally daily, sometimes multiple times a day. We get something in the morning, then we get a conflicting report in the evening. That's not easy. That's stressful. And I will say one thing that went very well in Arcadia is our ability to absorb, to listen, to analyze, but not to react until we had been able to triangulate the information that we were getting. So huge thank to Erica and her health team. Technology. Scott, are you still up in the ceiling somewhere? I don't know. We'll see. But, I remember Scott saying early in this process that we've spent probably, decades getting our system working the way it is. And then overnight, the way it was being used changed. And for him to bring his team together with Brian and everyone else has been absolutely incredible to see. Again, decades of getting ready to use it a certain way and then overnight changing the way it's used, getting those Chrome boxes out, being able to source that. That does not happen by accident. That is the result of expertise and relationships. And that's where that department has been incredibly successful. Scott was able to make those calls with the relationships he had developed over time and with the technical expertise, get the resources out that he needed to get. So huge thanks to Scott and his team. Also want to happily thank Terry Rademacher, my assistant. So I talked a lot about hundreds of grants we were getting out, and behind each of those was Terry making sure it was actually happening. We were able to look at each grant, decide whether it made more sense to get a package of licenses or to do an individual reimbursement. And Terry did each of those by hand, working with each teacher to get those reimbursements out. She's just done an incredible job, never complained, always a positive force in really the process. Also want to thank Tony Barrios and all of the MOT team. I now know more about air filters than I ever thought that I would. But I'll never forget, we met with some groups of teachers at schools who were just curious, will we be safe? How does that work? And I remember Tony rolling up with one of the air filters in hand and showing how it worked and how it was installed in the system. And it was just patient, it was kind, it was empathetic, and it was just very technically backed until he was able to explain that. So not only did they do the work, but they were able to communicate it in an effective way, which was wonderful to see. And finally, I want to thank all the school sites. Angie, I'll use you as a proxy for the school sites because you're here, but and that's probably right because the high school is one of the first groups that Eric and I met with when we were looking at Qualtrics. And I can tell you, the ease of use of Qualtrics can be credited a lot to the school sites and even to that first meeting we had with Angie and her team because they had such good questions. We walked through it together. They said, well, what about this? What about this? What if we try that? We were able to integrate that in the week leading up to it. And I'm absolutely convinced that you saved me hours and hours on the phone. So thank you for that. And again, it's impossible to thank everyone, our teachers, our staff, the administration team, cabinet, and the rest of the executive team, and you as a board. We are going to be diving into these lessons. In fact, I'm going to be reaching out in the coming week to chat with each of you because there's a lot we can learn about this. The challenges come in different ways. It hopefully, likely won't be a pandemic next time, but we've learned a lot. And we're going to continue to codify that and integrate it and celebrate who we are and carry that forward. So huge thanks to everyone I mentioned and all those who I didn't mention. This has been an amazing year and looking forward with our learning as we head into the next. Thank you.
Question? All right, last up on the eve of COVID, update number 50. That's right, 50. Chief Communications Officer Ryan Ferran.
Good evening, everyone. And we're at a couple of the candidate receptions, and everyone's like, aren't you so glad that the coronavirus updates are done? How many was that? Said 49, but they're not done yet. I can't end on 49, so we'll have to get to at least 50, make it a nice round number. So yeah, 49 went out last week. We'll definitely do 50 during the summer. Sometime I in the last update 49 just kind of talked about, well, give people a break during the summer. We won't do it weekly anymore like we've been doing the past few months. But so we'll get to 50, just a nice round number heading off out of the pandemic. It's great to see badminton here tonight. One of my interns, Kathy, is on the team, a junior. She's also the one that won the doubles girls with her partner for the second year in a row. Angie actually just mentioned her. She's also on the diversity committee at the high school. She just does so much So it's really cool to see them here. And I know Mike Stiles was very appreciative, talked to him afterwards, and just hearing the story of the coaches and the team being formed and how much work he did because his son was on the team 6 years ago. And that's how parents get involved. And Dr. Van also said the fact that he stayed with us through and just because he loves the sport of badminton, super great. So it's great to see badminton here. Congrats to Angie in the high school, and Melissa was here, and just the athletics and what they pulled off is just phenomenal. It's all these sports teams have been, their seasons have all been pushed to the same season. They're usually all spread out. They're all having amazing years, so that's fantastic and exciting, but it's 9 times the work organizing these games, COVID policies. So, and being at most of the games the past couple of weeks, it's just seamless procedure, especially the seniors and their parents getting to be there in person. But I know it takes a ton of work, but they walk in the gym and don't see any of that. But and seeing some of the staff that have been there. Saturday was test or a vaccination clinic in the morning, some testing going on, softball, basketball. So some of the staff, Angie included, are there like 16-hour days after graduation night, you know, till 10 o'clock at night. So your staff, you and your staff, just remarkable job. Exciting end of the year, but it's been a lot of work. So just kudos to you and your team. And that is my update. And basketball tomorrow night, CIF championship game at home. Very exciting. That's it.
Thank you, Ryan. Any questions? All right. That concludes our reports. Thank you.
Okay. We have consent items A through H. Could I have a motion to approve them?
Move to accept and approve consent items A through H.
Second.
Okay, the motion was made by Mrs. Chavez and seconded by Mr. Eng. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We're at comments of board members. Mrs. Chavez, would you like to start?
Find my list. I'm going to be very quick. Just to circle back, congratulations to Travis Long and the new leadership at Dana Middle School. And I was happy to see that we did the Pride Month resolution. I think, you know, we've really focused on making our schools safe and inclusive and welcoming. And so appreciate making that statement. Congratulations to all of our kids who made it through the year, but especially our 5th graders and our 8th graders, and of course our high school graduates at both Rancho and Arcadia High School. The Rancho graduation, I think, was my favorite I've ever seen. It was warm and wonderful, and ditto on the high school, and it was just a joy to actually get to have them in person. That is all I have.
Mr. Eng.
Thank you. I had the same things as Lee, and it was a celebration meeting, which is really cool. Congratulations to Travis Long, Edmonton team. Both graduations were very uplifting. It's a great highlight for the year. It's always been the highlight. Best to everybody. Thank you.
Mrs. Yee.
You know, pretty much what Lee and Fenton said. Just congratulations to the students, families, teachers, staff. The perseverance, the grit, and the grace that we saw was amazing. And you know, hopefully everyone has a wonderful, relaxing summer to take a break. And I'm just looking forward to seeing.
So congrats, Badman, Principal Travis Long, still a principal, but at a different school, and all the graduates, of course. This is the first time myself and Shirley participated in graduation on the other side. And really, I was looking forward to it, but it actually was much more moving than I thought it would be. And just to see the excitement, the hope, the optimism from all the graduates in person was amazing. And I know a lot of the other board members have talked about graduation being so special, and it really lived up to its billing and beyond. Amazing time. Congrats to all the grads. Also appreciate the Pride Month resolution. We've talked a lot about equity, diversity, inclusion, and this is just one of those manifestations of that commitment that we do. All students, right? We accept who they are, and love is love, and that's important that they know that we accept them and they belong. Last thing is Memorial Day was last week. I want to thank Ryan Press, who's not here anymore, but he, along with APN, did a segment on Adam Rosema. Adam was an AHS grad, graduated with me, class of 1998. He was in the United States Army and sadly was killed in action in Iraq. So APN did a segment on him, which was very special. Sent the link over to his mom, who appreciated it very much. So just want to say thanks to Ryan and APN for doing that. It was important to recognize Adam's sacrifice for our country, and he was part of this school community, our HS family. So it was just a great thing to do, and that our students got to see, a little bit about history, and that tied to what their predecessors have done for our country.
Dr. Van Alstad?
Congratulations to all of our graduates, and just want to say thank you to Angie, her entire administrative team, the counseling team at the high school, and the staff there. When they share the data tonight, we call it a snapshot of the graduating class, but we all know it's not a snapshot. It's as they shared, it's years of very targeted, deliberate messaging and work and programs to begin to achieve, because it's ongoing, the results that we're seeing with students feeling a balance at the high school, the number of AP classes. And I love seeing the number of students that are eligible for a 4-year, but choose a 2-year. We have been working on that for years, because it's just about messaging and convincing parents that there's more than one way, there's more than one path, and there's many paths. And they're not apologetic for it. They're out there and they continue to look for as many ways as possible to get that message across. And then to see the diverse number of colleges and universities represented, I think is also a result of our counselors and the software that we now use to really try to match students with the right university and the right college. So just a lot to be proud of. And I appreciate the fact that that they're data driven. And they continue to look forward to improve that data every year. So congratulations to our high school staff for everything that they've achieved this year. That's it.
Okay, I too wanted to congratulate all of our graduates, and I agree, the Rancho graduation was fabulous. But, I love the high school graduation. You can't miss with the racetrack. And congratulations to Travis Long. I had the Chamber of Commerce meeting this morning, and the most notable thing out of it is the hospital did not even mention COVID in their update. So the first time in over a year, there was no discussion. It was all about their fundraising and the recent Mardi Gras. So, hooray. I don't know if you all have seen it, but many of us have met Michael Lang, the fire captain or fire chief, and he is moving to Manhattan Beach. So we have lost them, but they have promoted from within. I did not write down the name, so I missed the name of the person, but promotion from within will be leading the fire department from once Michael leaves later this month or early next month. So that was the news from that. And I just want to wish all of our teachers and staff a wonderful vacation, well-deserved break. Because it's been one heck of a year, and thank you, all of them, for their work. That's it. With that, I'll adjourn the meeting at 8:56.
Right. Thank you, Madam President.
All right.
That's a record.
8:56. Yeah. Is that the shortest time?
It's so.
First I've ever been.
Right, we're